What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. And this is where we at now. So I got one here from Ask a Brother podcast with Mr. St. James, and he's talking to another gentleman here. And I've seen him on other podcasts before, things like that. I think he was on the Lapeef Network and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So listen, look. What these two gentlemen are going to be talking about is something that actually hits home with me as well. By me being a preacher's kid, I grew up in the Church of God in Christ, and I've seen the way things have gone. You know, definitely with that church, also with other churches, denominations, however you want to put it. And I definitely don't agree with it, you know, and I definitely understand the reason why most of the men technically have been ran out of the church in the 21st century to a degree. And, you know, it's a complicated situation because, you know, God also said, wherever there's three or more, there I'm in your presence. So the church is not a building. It's it's within us as, you know, human beings and stuff like that. But this is where we at here now. So we're going to find out some things. We're going to listen to these gentlemen and see what they have to say. So let's go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes.
I'm gonna ask you, guess maybe two more questions because I don't want to hold you, man, too long for sure. The church. I've grew up in it. I went to churches in Philly, Camden. I through and through apostolic Pentecostal. I've been to Baptist churches. I did, yeah, man, I did it all. I've been in it all. You know, got baptized twice. Actually, right?
The first time didn't stick good enough.
Nah. The first time wasn't the right water, you know. So
oh wow. See, you know, and back in the day, we really didn't have all these issues. This is some new age stuff, you know, because you know, when I did get baptized as a child and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, even if you grow up and you go other ways and stuff like that, you're supposed to teach your child the way to go and things like that, and they will return to the actual, you know, way of living life and under the covering of God. So yeah, this is wild right here. He's went to a lot of different churches. Okay.
What's your view about the relevance of the church in society in general, and especially in the Black community? And if it isn't doing what it's supposed to do, should we keep supporting it as presently constructed?
Are you looking for more in this?
Sorry, guys. I didn't know I was going to get a commercial here. Hold on.
Oh, this is the part where I answer that. Okay. The first thing I want to say is the Black church used to be our hub. It used to be our sanctuary. It used to be our safe place. The Black church used to produce soldiers, men. You know what it produces now?
What?
Selfies. We went from marching in the streets to merchandising the struggle. The same pulpits that they used to challenge Pharaoh are now taking donations from Caesar. The FBI has infiltrated the Black church. And I'm not talking about the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I'm talking about faith-based initiatives. Jesus flipped tables. Now we're too busy holding banquets. Faith is now performance art. You got pastors running around here in leopard print pants and their mama's shawl talking about, you know, we're just going to do something and we're going to help you ain't helping a damn thing but yourself. The kingdom ain't in a building. Jesus said, where two or three are gathered, there I am in the midst.
Right.
The kingdom of heaven is in us. And when we get back to that truth, this whole system is going to tremble. And that's the problem. We don't want to really move that forward. And I tell people all the time, and I talk about it in depth right here in the Real Black Agenda, how it continues to be weaponized against us because we treat the pastors like God. We have pandered completely to Black women in the church. We have ostracized and usurped and emasculated the Black man from the pulpit so that the only Black man you're listening to is pastor, and pastor's not encouraging you to read your Bible. He's encouraging you to get his tapes or his book or his seminar where he's going to continue to
basically definitely in these mega churches. And I'm huge on these mega churches, bro. You know, and the reason why I have disdain for these mega churches. And like I said, growing up in the church, in the old school, fire, brimstone, reading directly out the Bible, you know what I'm saying? Making sure that you understood what God was actually saying and going on, living by the word, you know, growing, man, listen, look, it's no way that a pastor can effectively lead a flock of 12,000 people in this church. How is it? And I've spoke upon this when I've done other broadcasts about, you know what I'm saying, the church, the state of the church, it definitely in this country here. And it's no way that a pastor could effectively lead that large amount of flock. It's impossible. And here's why. When your parishioners, when your church members come to you as the pastor, the leader of that congregation, you're supposed to be able to give them the wisdom and the guidance and things like that they need for whatever problem they got going on, whether it be personal, marriage, financial too, things like that. You're supposed to be able to guide them the right way and things like that. It's no way that you can effectively lead 12,000 people. And some of these mega churches have over that amount of people. It's impossible to do that, to listen to every individual situation that you need to listen to. And that's also a pastor's position, to not only guide the flock as a whole, but to be able to individually sit down with each maybe couple or individual or whoever that comes to the pastor for guidance and wisdom. And you can't do that with 12,000 people or more. You know, now, when Jesus did walk the earth, he walked the earth and he, you know, preached to masses of people, but he only had 12 people actually following him on a day-to-day basis. And then they went out and spread the word and help him, you know what I'm saying, things like that. You can't effectively lead 12,000 people at one time. So the church is not about actually preaching anything or teaching anything of the actual word and making sure that the church members actually, you know, ingrain that and use that in their daily life. It's too much money involved now. You got pastors with jets and stuff like that. What do you need that for? We got internet. We got technology. You could preach to everybody around the world. Why you got to fly to Dubai? What's over there? That, you know what I'm saying? Jesus, man. Come on now.
Do the Step and Fetch It, Yowza Boss It basic trifecta of Black outreach while our neighborhoods are in shambles. And here's the trifecta in case you didn't know. Credit repair, bike and backpack giveaways, and job fairs. Other than that, the church is absolutely ineffective, because I could have swore that one of the principles this country was founded on was the separation of church and state. So why are you taking money from the government? And all of a sudden you have nullified and castrated all the preachers. But question for you, Jeff.
Hey, listen, look, he said something then and you people don't like it. You know, not you. You know what I'm saying? If you've been following me for quite some time, you understand my stance, definitely with the church situation. So yeah. It is what it is, people. It's supposed to be a separation of church and state. The flock is supposed to be holding each other up as the flock. You know what I'm saying? The pastor's leading, the flock is supposed to provide the, you know, donations and also take, you know, paying for the church period. You know, you of course you got lights and all that, you know, you got things in the church that need to be paid for. You know, as a building itself and things like that to go to as a flock. But it's not supposed to be used for what things are being used for today. It never was meant that way. And, you know, believe it or not, a lot of you people don't even really know the truth about this. The church is supposed to be open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You're supposed to be able to go to the church and get a meal there if necessary. You know, you're supposed to be able to go to the church to get clothing if necessary. The church is also supposed, I mean, you know, you got Red Cross and stuff like that. That's technically a church-like entity, things like that. But the actual church that you people go to every Sunday or Saturday, whenever you choose to go, you know what I'm saying, it's supposed to be open 24 hours a day. Period. And we, as the flock, are supposed to bring goods to the church, not just money. Canned goods, clothing, you know what I'm saying? When you take used clothing to, the Salvation Army, you're supposed to be able to take that to your local church and they store that there. It's supposed to be enough room to store things like that at your church. Food, you know what I'm saying? Not even just food, seeds, stuff like that to grow food with. You know what I'm saying? Most churches, if they put their church in the proper place, they can have enough land to maybe grow some food in the back of the church, vegetables and stuff like that. This is what a church is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be this, you go there, you dress up on whatever day, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, and you sit there and listen to the preacher talk out the side of his neck about, like this gentleman here said, about a book or something that he's writing, or he's just giving you the Joel Osteen trope. Oh, good day. It's going to be a lovely day. Just trust in God. Just make sure that you do the right thing. Not telling you any strategical things that God told you, the way that you need to move, and things that you ought not need to get into, or you need to stay away from, or you need to embrace. Not telling you nothing like that. Just good day. Man, it's amazing to me out here. And I told y'all this church situation is going to touch home with me because it's very touchy. And I'm dead serious about this. And you had Joel Osteen sit out there years ago. If y'all remember when Texas had that serious tragedy going on, he wouldn't allow anybody in the church to sleep there. Anybody. He closed the doors to the church. Man, stop it, bro. Stop it. But you got all these type of individuals out here making tremendous millions of dollars, preaching to all these thousands of people. How you gonna lead a flock like that? You can't.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been swallowed up? You got pastors running around here dressed like kung fu merchants.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't even find the word. It's such the pussification of the pulpit.
Hold on. We ain't going. Hold on. Say it again. What you say?
I said the pussification of the pulpit is what's keeping Black society castrated, because you pander to the women and you make the men irrelevant, as if they're not irrelevant in their jobs, as if they're not irrelevant in their skills, if they're not irrelevant in the education conversation, if they're not irrelevant unless they're in child support court. Every single aspect of Black life has the government's hands in it.
Yeah.
Especially, and first on that list is the churches. And the churches have been running psyops for Black people since they replaced the Black liberation movement with the civil rights movement.
Yeah. And for starters, everybody says, it's separation of church and state. These churches, you go to the right church, they're gonna still say what they want. They're gonna still tell you who they think you're supposed to get behind and who they think you're supposed to support. Mm-hmm. And my concern is like, all right, this is a basic thing to me anyway. Mm-hmm. If what me and you just said 30 minutes ago, we don't believe male sexual genitalia should be in girls' locker rooms, in girls' restrooms, and women's restrooms, and definitely not in female prisons. That's a basic one-on-one thing that we all should agree with. That probably shouldn't happen. You got these pastors that know that there's a political movement and ideology that's pushing this type of stuff that's anti-human. Children getting surgery way before. Insane stuff. And rather than call that out and say we can't support stuff like that, y'all will go silent only because it's being supported on the side that's called progressive. Don't y'all know that this is anti-humanity? Birth rates declining, abortions out the wazoo, divorces are up, no political power, no political demands. I realize now in hindsight, learning from the Black conservatives, doing more research on my own, the Black church, as effective as it was when the communists realized between the 40s and the 60s, if we can figure out how to get them, like you just said, to get off of the black rights and focus on general civil rights, we can use them for the next 200 years.
And it's working beautifully. And that's the
right. Has been for a long time now. And, you know, it's a lot that got said here. And this is the truth here. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants this agenda that's being pushed out here. You know, same people, you know what I'm saying? Be honest with you, even gay people don't want this agenda being pushed. It's ridiculous out here. It's ridiculous. And the problem here is that these sellouts in the church are using the church from, you know, what it's supposed to have meant, and they've rearranged it. You know, like Pastor Brian, you too busy worried about what Target is doing instead of teaching your flock the right way to live, how to move. Why is Pastor Brian in anything politics? He's a pastor. That's none of your business. You're supposed to be teaching your flock how to get to heaven, not worried about boycotting Target. See, this is the stupidity shit that I'll be talking about with some of these pastors in the 21st century. I miss the old school pastors, man. I'm telling you right now, they were leading us in the right way. These new people that are just sitting around here, getting up in the pulpit, letting politicians in the pulpit, standing right there in a prestigious place where nobody needs to stand except for the pastor. And this is the truth. It's supposed to be two tiers. The pastor has the main pulpit, and it's supposed to be an offset place to do announcements and other things that need to be announced in the church by missionaries and deacons. Man, don't get me started here. I know how this is supposed to go, and it's a tragedy that this shit is going downhill, that they're misrepresenting God. It's hurtful out here.
Thing, man. Like, I'm not going to sit up here. Here's what I want black people to do. If you think what I'm saying is too radical, if you think what I'm saying is completely disrespectful, then ask yourself, why is it that every densely populated neighborhood, by and large, with very, very, very few exceptions, is the hood?
Yeah.
Why is it that the churches are pristine while the liquor stores are untouched, while the abortion clinics are rampant, but we start and stop the conversation on women's rights and women's reproductive rights with abortion, and not with the fact that black women, regardless of socioeconomic status, are dying or coming close to dying on the table because they say, well, you know, black women just don't have financial access to the.
I just talked about that in the previous video. This is crazy out here. This is crazy.
To the prep for care when they're having children, and that's why we have so many issues. I'm sorry, ain't Beyonce a billionaire?
Are you looking to establish?
Hold on. This is wild out here.
Serena Williams a billionaire? They both almost died on the table giving birth. Wake up, dum-dum. The reason that they want you to go out here and go to the vacuum doctor, the reason that you used to have to go to the doctor 15 years ago to get a morning after pill, and you can go down to a Dwayne Reed, a CVS, or a Rite Aid and get yourself a Plan B, is because they're trying to castrate you. Margaret Sanger's plan is now in full swing. If you don't abort the baby, you can take a pill to get rid of the baby. If you don't take a pill to get rid of the baby, then you know what you can do? You can be strong and independent. And if life gets a little too hard, and I'm not saying that this is the case for everybody, but if life gets a little too hard, you can be a Decepticon or you can be an Autobot, and you can transform and roll out.
This is amazing, man. And yeah, I appreciate it. It's refreshing to hear actual masculinity talking back to me, because I feel like I'm talking to brick walls when I say this out loud to do grown men, beards, been out the womb for 30, 40 years.
Talking about men can have babies.
Come on, y'all.
Some
Come on, y'all. Y'all don't know that a woman is your mama? That if you ever question that, oh, that's how you get it.
See,
a woman is your mama. That's you know what? That's going on a hat. Woman is your mom. If you can't answer that, I'm so like when me and Crimson Cure had met recently, and I was saying, man, it's been amazing to see like the amount of people who I thought were big and bad. So I realized like, nah, they say all the controversial things about their own people.
Mm-hmm.
They say all the controversial things, but they know which parties, which movements, which politicians. You don't speak on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh,
bro,
crazy,
everybody's
man.
Billy Bad.
And this is where we at though. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to these two gentlemen right here, you know what I'm saying, for having the conversation. Definitely about the church issue. You know, I find it egregious that we're at this state now, you know, with our, you know, religious centers and things like that across America, you know, regardless of what denomination that you belong to, you know, and I hate it for us. That's the reason why this country is going the way it is going, you know, and we don't have any stable centers for our, you know, worship. And that's a part of us as humans. We're trying to negate the fact that we do have a soul, or we do, you know, have a part of us that's, you know, tied into something bigger than us just living on this planet. And it's sad to see, but the thing of this is, man, is that nowadays, man, yeah, you know, you got a lot of these pastors out here that are not telling the truth. They're capitalizing. The separation of church and state is no longer. State is actually running the church, just like state took over marriage. You know, God ordained marriage, the state didn't, but the state is capitalizing off of it. We're just telling the truth out here. These are facts. And, you know, this is where we at here. You know, growing up, man, I never thought I'd see the day where we have so many pastors that are selling out and things like that, and they're corrupting the flock and things, and they're allowing the wolves to eat the sheep. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.